I'm recording this as we're about to hit this full moon in Capricorn at the 21st of July 2024. And I did an exploration of the asteroid 2202, which is named after the Hawaiian fire goddess Pele. And as I did that exploration or got to the end of that, for some reason, I was led to go and have a look at her chart, her transit chart for this full moon. And then after looking at her transit chart, looking at the Hawaii transit chart. And I will put a link for that video in the description for this video because the two are connected. This video is going to be a lot shorter than that one because I'm just going to gallop through the information that I've put together so that you can have a look and digest and pause where necessary to read what I've put together here. And I'm doing that because I really want to get this posted before the full moon, which is going to be in a couple of hours or less than a couple of hours. So here goes. This is the chart for Hawaii. So in white, I have plotted the points from the Hawaii birth chart, and the birth chart I am using is actually when Hawaii became the 50th federated state of the United States, 21st of August 1959 at 10:12 a.m. local time. And then in yellow, I have plotted the points from the full moon chart, so the transits for the full moon. And what I've done is I am particularly interested in and study the patterns that are formed by the aspects. And I noticed that there are a number of very strong patterns in the Hawaii transit chart for the full moon. There are 0-degree orbs, so they're really strong and tight. 5 of these 6 points of contact are 0 degrees, they're less than 1 degree. And this forms what's known as a bathtub. And you can take your own inference from that. I'm not going to do an analysis or conclusions. I'm just going to present the information. So that's the first pattern. The next pattern is what's known as a finger of God. And again, the aspects are pretty tight. Only one of these 3 has 0 degrees, but the other 2 are only, they're still less than 2 degrees, so this is still pretty tight too. And I've put the houses in here, which I'll come to later. The next one is a quintile yod, so this is a minor aspect pattern, and the point of this yod points to Pele, Pluto, and Volcano together there in conjunction with each other. And this is where the overlap with the Pele work that I did this week comes into play. And the moon from this full moon is involved in this pattern also. And the transiting Pluto is conjunct the moon of this full moon. And the next pattern is a pretty rare, it's a rare pattern. It's formed by oppositions and squares, and it's a grand cross. And in this case, it's a fixed grand cross because it's connecting on with the fixed signs. And once again, Pele is involved in this pattern down the bottom here in the 4th house of Hawaii's chart and with Hawaii's Chiron. And what I've put here is I've put together the aspect patterns along with the notes on mundane astrology that I got from skyscript.co.uk, and I have put these in order of their strength based on the amount of 0-degree orbs there are in each of the patterns. So the bathtub is the strongest, then the finger of God, and then the quintile yod, and then the grand cross. And I've made them less and less, so they're fainter and fainter as in the order of their strength. So you can pause this and read the information there for yourself. And then I've also put the house information in there as well. So these are all the patterns together in one with their transparency giving their strength. So the bathtub you can see really clearly because that's the strongest pattern. Again, you can pause and study this. And the next thing I did is actually looked at Pele's the Sabian symbols for the Pele placements. The first, oh, by the way, yellow is for the transiting and white. So I've color coded everything yellow and white. Yellow for the transits and white for natal. So Pele down here in yellow is the transiting asteroid Pele, and Pele in white is the natal asteroid Pele in Hawaii's birth chart. So Pele transiting is Aquarius 21, a woman disappointed and disillusioned. And her Sabian symbol for in the birth chart is a man dreaming of fairies. And this is the thing that struck me is this is the pattern in Pele asteroid, the Pele asteroid transit chart for this full moon. And this is an extremely rare pattern. It's called a grand sextile. And what's even more remarkable is 5 of the 6 points are 0-degree orbs. So once again, this is an extremely strong pattern. And typically in aspect pattern astrology, you don't use points in the chart. It's always usually a physical, something that's physical, a physical object. And the reason I've included Black Moon Lilith, and in my opinion, it's a valid inclusion, is because Neptune is conjunct that point. So the Neptune object grounds that point for this pattern. Again, you can pause and study. And I've put a little note in here from an astrologer that talks about the what the meaning is behind a grand sextile, and it's in when it's a transit and when it's a mundane transit. So he says it's an opportunity for growth, working with the accent in the chart. And what he means by the accent in the chart is a a more dynamic energetic aspect, i.e., a square or an opposition, because that adds some oomph to this otherwise quite, relaxed pattern because everything is harmonious, right? So I went and looked for what would be the accent, and the opposition of the full moon itself, which runs right through the middle of this pattern. And then there is a T-square in the natal nodal axis and to Chiron. And again, this is a very strong pattern. All three of the points of this T-square are 0-degree orbs. Moving on to the Sabian symbols, I started with the point, the apex point of the T-square, which is Chiron, an open window and a net curtain blowing into a cornucopia. Next is the south node, the natal south node, which is Cancer 24. And it's interesting that the Rudya one is a woman and two men castaways on a small island of the South Seas. Where is Pele? Pele lives in Kilauea in the South Seas on Hawaii. And next is the North Node, the natal North Node, Capricorn 24, a woman entering a convent. So then I went and looked at the Sun-Moon axis for this full moon. And the moon is at Capricorn 30 for Sabian symbol, and that is a secret meeting of men responsible for executive decisions in world affairs. And the Sabian symbol for the sun, which happens to be tightly conjunct Pele's Venus. Her Venus is at 2939, and it's in her 10th house. And the Sabian symbol is daughter of the American Revolution. So that's all the information I have to share, and I've galloped through that so I can get this out before the full moon, and so you can actually study at your leisure. I would be really, really interested in any astrologers watching this, in your feedback and comments on what you feel the messages in these rare transit patterns in the Hawaii chart and in the Pele asteroid 2202 chart. Okay, that's it for now. Bye.